The phone call that shattered everything you know, that feeling when your gut tells you something's wrong, but your brain keeps making excuses? Yeah, I lived in that space for months. And the night everything came crashing down started just like any other Tuesday. My wife texted me around 6. Working late again. Don't wait up. I stared at that message for longer than I should have. It was the third time that week. But I told myself what I'd been telling myself for the past 2 months. She was committed to her career, climbing the ladder, making moves. We'd been together for 8 years. Married for 5. You don't just throw away that kind of trust over a few late nights at the office, right? I heated up leftover pasta, scrolled through my phone, watched half of a game I didn't care about. The apartment felt hollow without her there. We bought the place 3 years ago. Nothing fancy, but it was ours. 2 bedrooms, decent neighborhood, close enough to both our jobs that the commute wasn't torture. That night, though, it felt too big, too quiet. The kind of quiet that makes you hear your own thoughts too clearly. Around 11, I brushed my teeth and climbed into bed. She still wasn't home. I sent her a text. Hope work's going okay. Love you. Read receipts showed she'd seen it. No response. I told myself she was probably in a meeting, or her phone was in her bag, or she was just exhausted. My brain was working overtime to rationalize everything, building a fortress of excuses to protect my heart from what it already suspected. Then, at 11:47 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Most people don't anymore, right? But something made me pick up. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was fate. Maybe I was just tired of living in denial. Hello. Hi. Is this? Are you listed as her emergency contact? The voice was female. Professional. The kind of tone that medical personnel use when they're trained not to panic you, but you can hear the weight behind their words anyway. My heart stopped. What? Who is this? What happened? Sir, I need to confirm. Are you the emergency contact for your wife? Yes. Yes, I am. What's going on? Is she okay? There was a pause. Not a long one, but long enough that my entire body went cold. She's fine, sir. She's here at the hospital. There was an incident. She's asking for someone, but she didn't want us to call you. I'm sorry, what? I don't understand, I said, already grabbing my keys, my hands shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone. What do you mean she didn't want you to call me? I'm her husband. Another pause. Longer this time. Sir, I think you should come down here. She's in the emergency department. I can't give you more details over the phone, but I think there are some things you need to know. The drive to the hospital is a blur. I remember running 2 red lights. I remember my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles went white. I remember thinking about every late night, every working late text, every time she came home and went straight to the shower. All those little moments I'd dismissed were suddenly playing back in my head like a horror movie I'd been too blind to see. When I got to the emergency department, I gave them her name at the desk. The nurse, the same woman who'd called me, I think, gave me this look. This mixture of pity and discomfort that made my stomach turn. Room 7, she said quietly. But sir, before you go back there, you should know. I didn't let her finish. I walked straight past her, down that fluorescent-lit hallway that smelled like antiseptic and regret, until I found room 7. And there she was, my wife, sitting on the edge of a hospital bed, mascara running down her face, her blouse torn at the shoulder. And sitting next to her, holding her hand, was someone I'd never seen before. A man, younger than me, better looking than me, wearing a wedding ring that definitely wasn't mine. They both looked up when I walked in. Her face went from shock to horror to something I can only describe as resignation. Like she'd been waiting for this moment. Like she knew it was coming eventually. What the hell is this? My voice didn't sound like my own. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. I can explain. Explain? I looked at the guy next to her. He had the decency to look uncomfortable, but he didn't let go of her hand. Who is this? What happened? Why are you in a hospital? The man stood up. Look, man, this isn't, I'm not talking to you. I cut him off, my eyes locked on her. I'm talking to my wife. That's when the doctor walked in. Perfect timing, really. She looked between the 3 of us and clearly realized she'd walked into something way more complicated than a medical emergency. I'll give you all a moment, she said, backing out quickly. My wife finally spoke. Her voice was small, broken. There was a car accident. We were leaving dinner. A truck ran a light. We're both fine, just shaken up, but they wanted to check me out because I hit my head on the dashboard. Leaving dinner, I repeated slowly. Together. She nodded, tears streaming down her face now. How long? I asked. The question came out calmer than I felt. How long has this been going on? For months. For months. A third of a year. While I was heating up leftovers and watching games I didn't care about, she was building an entire separate life. With him. Who is he? I asked, still not looking at the guy. She hesitated. He works in my department. We started talking during a project, and it just happened. It just happened, I echoed. Things like this don't just happen. You made choices. Every single day for 4 months, you made the choice to lie to me. I know, she sobbed. I know, and I'm so sorry. I never meant for it to go this far. I never meant to hurt you. Here's where I want to ask you something, whoever's listening to this. When someone says they never meant to hurt you, but they kept doing the thing that hurt you for months, what does that actually mean? Does intention matter when the impact is the same? Can you love someone and still destroy them? I still don't have the answer to that. The other guy finally spoke up again. For what it's worth, I didn't know she was married. Not at first. By the time I found out, we were already. Already what? I snapped. Already in love? Already sleeping together? Already planning a future while I was at home thinking everything was fine. He didn't answer. Neither did she. That's when it hit me, the real knife to the gut. That's why you didn't want them to call me. You wanted them to call him. She closed her eyes. Nodded. You're listed as her emergency contact in the hospital system, I said to him. How? How did that happen? We updated it last month, my wife whispered. I told them at work that my husband and I were separated, that I wanted my emergency contact to be someone else. Last month, while I was planning a surprise anniversary trip for us, while I was looking at new furniture for the apartment because she'd mentioned wanting to redecorate, while I was living in a marriage, she was already planning her exit. I stood there in that hospital room, under those harsh fluorescent lights, and I realized I didn't even know who this woman was anymore. The person I'd shared a bed with, shared dreams with, shared 8 years of my life with. She was a stranger. I'm done, I said quietly. I'm done with this. With you. With all of it. Please, she reached for me, but I stepped back. Please, can we just talk about this? Can we go home and... Home? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. That place stopped being home the minute you decided he was more important than we were. I walked out of that room, down that hallway, past the nurse who'd called me, who gave me that same pitying look, out to my car in the parking lot where I sat for 20 minutes, unable to drive because I was shaking so hard. My phone buzzed. A text from her. I'm so sorry. Please let me explain everything. I deleted it. Then I blocked her number. That was 3 months ago. The divorce papers are being processed now. She moved out of the apartment. Turns out she'd been staying with him on those late work nights anyway, so the transition was easy for her. I kept the place. Couldn't afford it on my own at first, so I got a roommate. It's weird, living with a stranger in the space where I thought I'd build a family. But it's better than living with the ghost of what I thought we had. People keep asking me if I saw the signs. Yeah, I saw them. I just didn't want to believe what they were telling me. That's the thing about betrayal. It only works because you trust the person doing it. If you suspected everyone all the time, you'd go insane. So you choose to trust. You choose to believe. And sometimes, that choice destroys you. Her family reached out a few weeks after everything went down. Her sister sent me this long message about how my wife was going through something and didn't mean to hurt anyone, and how these things are complicated. I didn't respond. Because here's what I learned. Betrayal isn't complicated. The feelings might be messy, but the action is simple. You either choose to honor your commitments or you don't. She didn't. I found out later from a mutual friend that the guy she was seeing, he's married too, has 2 kids. His wife had no idea either. So that phone call that shattered my world, it shattered at least 2 families that night. Maybe more. Who knows how many other lies were being held up by that one moment. The weirdest part is the small stuff I miss. Not her, exactly, but the routine. The person I thought she was. Saturday morning coffee runs. The way she'd steal the blankets at night, and I'd pretend to be annoyed. Inside jokes that don't make sense to anyone else. You can't grieve those things properly because they were never real to begin with. They were props in a performance I didn't know I was watching. I'm angry. I'm sad. I'm relieved. I'm all of it at once, and none of it makes sense. Some days I wake up and forget for just a second that she's not there. Other days, I'm grateful I'm not living a lie anymore. The truth might have destroyed me, but at least I'm not drowning in someone else's fiction. So here's what I want to leave you with, whoever's listening to this story. If your gut is telling you something's wrong, listen to it. Don't make excuses. Don't rationalize. Don't do what I did and build a fortress of denial to protect yourself from reality. Because eventually, reality breaks through. And when it does, you wish you defaced it on your own terms instead of having it forced on you by a stranger's voice on the phone at midnight. Trust is a gift. When someone breaks it, they don't just hurt you. They steal your ability to trust yourself. They make you question every moment, every memory, every feeling you thought was real. That's the real damage. Not just the betrayal, but the way it rewires your entire understanding of your own life. I don't know if I'll ever get married again. Right now, the thought of trusting someone that completely feels impossible. But I'm working on it. Therapy helps. Time helps. Knowing that her choices were about her character, not my worth, that helps too. If you're going through something similar, know this. You're not crazy for missing the lies. You're not weak for wanting to believe in someone. You're human. And being human means sometimes we get hurt by the people we love most. But it also means we can heal. Slowly, painfully, but we can heal. That unknown number that called me that night, best and worst thing that ever happened to me. It ended my marriage, but it also ended my suffering. I just didn't know I was suffering until I wasn't anymore. So yeah, that's my story. That's how a Tuesday night phone call from a stranger saved my life by destroying it first. And if you're out there, still working late every night, still texting your partner that everything's fine when it's not, just know that eventually, someone's going to ask, are you listed as their emergency contact? And when they do, the truth is going to come out whether you're ready or not. Make sure you're living a life you don't have to lie about. Because those lies, they have a way of catching up to you when you least expect it.